The following program is paid for by the Charlie Butler team. Looking for tips on selling your home? Tune in to the Charlie Butler Show right here on WGBF AM every Sunday at 9 a.m. The Charlie Butler Show, where your questions get answers. Charlie guarantees it.
Good Sunday morning, Tri-State. This is the Charlie Butler Real Estate Show. I'm here as I am every Sunday with my menagerie. To my left here is, like they can see whether you're to my left or my right, is David Crow, who is the regional manager for Churchill Mortgage, and they're a good sponsor. Good morning, David.
Good morning, Charlie. Good morning, everybody. Beautiful day.
Last couple of weeks, you may have missed David. David's been in Florida.
Yeah. Having a good time. I brought back some of the warm weather.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, this past week has been really warm, so I brought it back here.
I bet it's not quite as warm as it was in Florida.
No, it wasn't. I have to be honest. The air temperature was 71, 72 degrees when I was there, but where I happened to stay, they kept the swimming pool at 86 degrees, so I was able to have a good time with the sun beating down. But you dry it off pretty quickly.
Okay. Poor David having put up with the heat, And Kylena Page, our social media director. How are you today, Kylena?
I am good. How are you, Charlie?
I'm doing good.
Good.
And also the El Presidente of the Butler DeArmond Real Estate Network, Candace DeArmond. Good morning, Candace.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm doing okay. How are you doing?
I'm doing good.
Okay.
And also, we had the last couple of weeks, we had Bobby G here, and our fearless producer, Jordan Rose, is back from his vacation. You want the microphone to talk about your vacation?
So I started with a vacation. I started at a concert, and then the concert gave me COVID, and then I was down for, thank goodness I was only down for like a day and a half. Like, it wasn't insane COVID, but yeah, that wasn't a fun week. I was isolated for 6 days straight and didn't do anything. It wasn't joyous. Yeah, no, not at all.
Isolation, baby. Yeah.
So here around Valentine's Day, do you need me to go shopping with you for a ring?
Nope. I'm good. I'm good right now, homie. I'm good.
You're sure?
I'm 100%. I got the flowers ordered. They're being delivered today. Everything's covered on my end.
All right. So Jordan's going the cheap route with the flowers instead of going with a ring. What we get you? You said that you didn't have any money right now. What would get you no money down?
Well, yeah, we could do that, or I could just wait.
I am so sorry, Jordan.
Yeah.
You should have known. You should have had COVID this week with Valentine's Day going on.
Don't worry, Jordan. We're going to start picking on the others, too.
There we go.
Yeah, Candace, what about you? I mean, anything?
Oh, no. No, I'm allergic to things on my fingers.
Kylena, you're a different story altogether. So I'm
Pass.
Yeah, we're going to move on from there. David, it's been
David.
David, who is already married, as am I. David, it's been an interesting week or so in the mortgage business.
Thought you were going to say in his marriage.
That as well. Folks, if you are keeping tabs, and the headline news this past week has been about PCI, core PCI, or CPI. Yes. And just so you know, in the mortgage finance industry, we are absolutely alphabet soup all the time with all the acronyms and letters.
And David, for those that are listening don't know what CPI is, you want to...
Consumer Price Index, and then core Consumer Price Index. And if you're sitting at home and want to Google it, that is the inflation factors that are driving what the headline news talks about. Inflation is still up, and it's amazing. 1/10 of 1% sends the stock market, bond market, everything into a frenzy for several days. And this past week, CPI, they anticipated it would come in at 3.0, came in at 3.1.
Yeah.
Core was supposed to be at 3.8, came in at 3.9. And all heck breaks loose. And I'm like, okay. And so we'll go through this for a day. But it did send the 10-year Treasury that we had down to like 3.8s. Rates were looking good. It's right now, it's been in the 4.30s, if you will. So pricing, rates are still, if you will, stabilized. And we did see this past week a tick up. Now, fortunately for me, about 20 plus years in the industry, I know how to foresee this. And I can say 2 weeks ago, I had 9 different loans that I locked, and ever since I locked them, rates have been worse since the day I locked them. So that's what I do for clients. I tell them, lock now, wait, just like I'm saying this now. This market for the past year has just been on a daily basis up and down on pricing. So you have to you have to have your head in the game to know how to educate the clients. Now's what it is, and now's when we need to act, or we need to pause and just wait, because it has truly been an up and down roller coaster from one week to the next. And so this will stabilize. We're sitting here in February, and we've said all along, get through the first quarter of 2024, and we're going to start to see replacement data improve in 24. So,
and I saw some of the Wall Street guys saying on CNBC, they said, look, everybody's complaining about this, but everybody thought we'd be in a recession by now, too.
That's exactly. Yeah. We have held so going back a year ago when we were talking about creating that soft landing.
And you and I talked about that a lot.
Yes, we've talked to folks. If you're listening to us for the past year, Charlie, we can't change the reality. We can tell you where it's going to be in 8 months, 12 months, and it is what it is. Time has to pass, and the market is done just what we anticipated. But we're not in a recession. Now, depending on what was the saying, when your neighbor loses their job, it's a recession. When you lose your job, it's a depression.
Yep.
So there have been adjustments in the marketplace, and those have occurred. But overall, from where we were, rates are lower. If you really look back on the end of third, beginning of fourth quarter of 2023, we're lower,
right?
And which is good. And we know we're going to trend in 2024 to lower interest rates. And just like that 1% data this past week, paused everything, sent things, a little discombobulated. That's the roller coaster I'm talking about, because 2 weeks from now, I may be sitting back in here going, well, 10-year Treasury dug down to 3.88 again.
Yeah.
And so it's just knowing how to the best of my ability, time the market on when the best time is to lock your rate on your home loan.
And everybody, or some of the supposed experts, are saying that they think rates are, we're going to get a rate cut. Powell's going to do a rate cut, but maybe a little later than what he was going to do.
That's one of the things. If you go back 2 weeks ago, Powell was gracious enough to be on 60 Minutes on Sunday night, the week before the Super Bowl weekend that we just had last weekend. So 2 weekends ago. He had some comments on 60 Minutes that kind of flustered the market a little bit in where we thought we'd see our first cut in March. And Powell alluded that one probably won't happen. And so now he's, again, I'm not saying anything 100% concrete. No one is.
Right.
With these Fed chairmans and what they do from 1 month. But now we're pushing, I'm hearing more like May, June is where we may see the first cut occur. And as long as we're trending in that direction, I know Churchill Mortgage, myself, the lenders will start to move those rates even down as long as they have strong anticipation, because they're talking about a 50 basis point cut as far as initial one. So it's all going to improve in terms of rate in 2024. I know with me, I have tried to educate buyers. We've talked in the past about 2-1 buy downs, and it's out there. You spend money up front. If you can get the seller in a purchase contract to do that, it's great. Utilize those funds. But I make sure they cover other costs, because even if you buy the rate down, I know by the end of 2024 and the first part of 25, rates are going to be significantly lower. You're going to want to refinance anyway. Mm-hmm. So I just tell people for, anywhere from 6, 8, 10 months, you may pay just a little bit higher mortgage payment, but don't spend a ton of your cash to just temporarily, because in a year or less, you're going to refinance to a lower interest rate anyway.
Right.
And so many of the people have heeded my advice and done just that. We do have an ARM product, and I've done that as well, and just creative with each person's situation out there.
So, David, again, we know what you're talking about, but the 2-1 buy down.
Yes.
There's people just tuning in or thinking about, getting a house or whatever. What is the 2-1 buy down?
So a 2-1, let's just use for easy math 7% as an interest rate.
Okay.
Interest rates are lower than 7.
Right.
Okay. But part of your mortgage payment is made up of principal, being the loan amount, and interest, which is what you're paying to use somebody else's money each month. So if rates are 7%, you prepay that interest up front so that your first 12 payments are based on a mortgage of 5%. So the 2-1, the 2 is buying down to 2% that first year to 5%. So the homeowner pays based on 5%. When you get to the 13th month, so 2-1,
right.
The 13th month, you're paying at 6% interest. And then when you get to the 25th payment, you're back to the original 7th all the way through the 30-year mortgage. So you basically, it's very simple on a calculator we have, you prepay the interest up front with a one-time payment at closing, and then you've got lower monthly payments in that first year, second year, and then and then you're back to original in the 30, which is great. Some people choose that option, but where I was sharing was if you temporarily buy it down to 5, that's great. But in less than a year, if rates were to move to like 5.5, you may then want to say, well, now that it's 5.5, I want to go ahead and lock that in. So I'm going to do a hard refinance and just have my 5.5 through, 29 years, 30 years, whatever. But folks, for everybody listening on the radio, this is why you need to call me, talk to me, because each person's situation is different. I give you the options. I just did an option the other day for somebody on a conventional loan. They wanted to do, instead of they didn't have 20% down payment. So if you don't have 20%, you have to pay private mortgage insurance, PMI. Well, I have an option where you can do a one-time PMI. So instead of having a little bit monthly, say $50, $60, $70 in your monthly payment going to PMI, you do a one-time payment at closing, and then your mortgage payment is lower each month because you prepaid your private mortgage insurance. And on a prepayment of PMI, it all gets into how much down, what your current rate is, credit score. There's all variables that run in the background to know what that one-time PMI payment is at closing.
So, David, a lot of this, we're just hitting the highlights, but how can they get a hold of you to find out more about
Folks, as we say each week, the easiest way to get a hold of me and get your questions answered is call my cell phone, 270-222-0676.
David Crow with Churchill Mortgage. And also, we want to thank our other sponsors, Bossy Title. Jeff Bossy and his staff do a great job. Well, Jeff doesn't really do anything, but
that's a weekly commentary on Jeff.
But his staff does a great job. I mean, they make it so smooth, so fast, so smooth, and are all very customer service oriented. So go see the folks at Bossy Title if you're needing something. If you're needing to find out if you've inherited a house or there's an estate, if you need just to find out any of the details, they can do a search for you and they can tell you everything you need to know. So Jeff Bossy and all his good folks at Bossy Title, let's just give them a call. Kylena, you and Candace, I was just sitting here thinking, we've got two builders that the Charlie Butler team's representing now, both in Reinbrecht Homes and CAC Custom, which people just know as Chris Combs. But do you guys want to talk a little bit about those? Kylena,
where do you want us to start?
Well, I know you've got a listing in Chandler right now.
Yeah.
And what is the name of that subdivision?
That's Heim Ridge.
That's Heim Ridge.
Yes. And I was going to ask David a question about that too,
Oh.
because like on mortgages, like whenever a buyer's planning on buying a home, usually from the time their offer's accepted, when can they expect to close on that house? This is leading into something. So.
Oh, Lord. She starts out throwing me a softball.
Yeah, just
But I know I've got a curve coming here.
Nice one. No, I'm
So-
going to
You
set
do,
you up
David.
perfectly for a home
I
run.
can tell you with all of my buyers, I close in less than 30 days.
Okay.
Yes. Now,
Yeah.
that can be 12 days. It may be
Woo!
28 days. They're the variables. And I will say this. The two variables are, I like to try and get people, once I know they're looking, I want to get them pre-approved up front. So I've
Right.
already gotten their bank statements, W-2s, pay stubs, which makes things go so much quicker later. The appraiser is a variable because they have legally 14 days, 2 weeks
Right.
to return it. Sometimes I get an appraisal back in 2 days.
Yes.
I mean,
Yeah.
boom, make the order. He accepts it. She accepts it. They go out the next day. I get a report that afternoon.
Yes.
I have other appraisers that contact us on the 14th day and say, we're so sorry, but we ran into an issue. Don't know what the issue is.
Right.
And they get it to me in 17 days. Again, that can delay, pushing into that upper 20s on a closing. But I know with me, all my deals close in less than 30 days.
Okay, yeah. So David recently helped me on one. So we actually had a pending, and we're not going to talk about anybody else but David.
No.
We're not going to talk about anybody else that was involved.
But David was not the one that pinned it.
David wasn't the one that pinned it, but David gained some new clients from this, I heard.
I did.
And they said, so they had been with this particular lender. We've been pending for 4 months on this house, and we needed some answers. So we sent these clients to David, who is not their lender, but is now going to be their lender, and kind of cleaned up a mess. And you just reminded me because that was on that new construction home.
Yeah,
So
well, and David and I talked about this also.
it's a very simple thing, but some lenders are not David.
And you're right. And one thing that David does, when I called him about this, he's very upfront.
Yes.
It was not going to happen at
No.
that price range. Nothing wrong with the people. It just
No.
was the wrong price range.
Yes.
For them. And you were very upfront about that. And which is all, I think, I always have lenders ask me, what do the realtors want? They just want to be told the truth.
Right.
That's
Good news,
I'm
bad
honest.
news.
I quickly. Some of it's experience. Some I can't speak to other people. I could, but I'm not going to. I don't know why. I can tell you if I have a borrower that is trying to buy $250,000 home, and I know they only qualify for $180,000 home.
Gosh, are we hypothetically here, or are you telling me what I need to know?
We're pretty close.
It's
That's
pretty
what I
close.
talked to him about.
So why do I want to create more work for myself?
Yeah.
In your situation, Kylena, I hear communication was not good with the buyers and the other person. I communicate directly with people
Right.
quickly with
Right.
them. And I
You
let them
earned that-
know.
you earned their business because
Yes,
of that.
because
they didn't have a clue what was going on with their
No.
lender either.
And
So
I was told that working with me for 20 minutes, they knew more about their personal situation, the ability, debt to income ratios, how we're arriving at that, than they had ever learned in 4 months with the other person. So I'm like, no, I've got a lot of people I'm helping, so I do the best I can to educate you, get the realtor and the buyer on the same page. This is what we need to be looking at. And then at that point, I'm also confirming their monthly payment. I had a gentleman just yesterday in Louisville, Kentucky, and he kept saying, what's our max? What's our max? And I took him to his max, and I told him what the monthly payment was. And he's like, well, he minused about $250 off that monthly payment. He's like, well, what am I looking at this payment? And I'm like, well, you didn't want to know your max. Let's give me what number you feel comfortable. And I did. And I backed it down in that situation, it was about $30,000. And he's like, cool. And I'm like, go out. Now, this is your price point you need to be looking at.
Right.
And realtor loves me, and everybody loves me.
Right.
So
everybody
then
loves David.
everybody loves David.
So you can call David for the new construction home that we have in Heim Ridge. It's a USDA. It's in the right location where it would be
perfect.
0% down,
Yes.
brand new, 3-bed, 2-bath, beautiful. So we do have that, and Rhinebeck's have been really good about getting that one ready.
And we will have
Awesome
another
work.
one there in about 2 weeks
Yeah.
also
Chandler.
Right. Awesome.
So
in the same subdivision.
Yeah.
And Candace, for as far as Ryan Branks go, you have one, I believe, listed in Terra Vista.
Yes, I do, on Jagger Court, and it is a very beautiful home.
It is.
Large home,
Lots
lots
of
of
bedrooms.
space. Yes.
Like,
oh
more-
yeah,
yeah.
2 different living areas, an office. It's really, they did a really good job on that one.
And what's the price on that one? 409 maybe.
409.
Oh, is it 409?
Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
it's
409.
Okay.
So, and these, keep an eye on the open houses. These are open both fairly regularly.
And we have the buy down.
And we have,
Yeah.
yes.
The
Yeah.
Ryan Brex offer?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they're
We can
offering
always kinda run
they
that.
are offering a 3-2-1 buy down.
So that's pretty freaking awesome.
Yeah.
Right.
Like that makes a dramatic.
It may-
We've got the numbers on that too. If anybody has questions.
Yeah.
Well, and what I'd say to that, going back to what I said earlier, if someone's using their own funds, and then I can tell you, yay, nay. In builder situations around the nation, prominent builders, will offer those heavy incentives. And if somebody called me and said, should I accept it? And I'm like, well, absolutely, because the builder's offering that. It's their money that they built in there. So in that situation, it's a phenomenal opportunity for a new homeowner to get in
Right.
at a lower monthly payment and gradually go up. And at any point, if they wanted to refinance and lock into a 30-year lower rate, they can as well. But
Right.
when the builder's offering those great incentives, you always want to take advantage of those.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, Kylena, I think probably one of the things you're probably going to be doing is with the social media is try to, in fact, before we came on today, Matt Reinbrecht and I were talking about this. He said, is there a way we can explain the 3-2-1 buy down
Yeah.
better? And I
Yeah.
said, we're going to do some social media on that
Absolutely.
because the radio just goes too quick.
Right, right.
They need to be able to read it.
Yeah,
You know.
and we need to get Candace on video
Oh,
too.
absolutely.
Can we
Absolutely.
get her to commit to that today? Like it's
come on,
Valentine's
Candace.
Day.
Oh,
Like how much do you
gosh.
love me? I need some extra love.
Why
in my
don't
life.
you get on video?
We'll do it together.
No.
Oh,
I'm
Kylena's
not.
on video.
There's a little broken heart there.
That's okay. We can be broken together.
I don't.
But like, so like just comparing like, hey, like this is just market interest rate. This is with nothing. This is your payment. Now
Right.
this is what your payment is. Like we're talking like a significant amount. And I wish I had the numbers right in front of me and I would
I
spit them
don't.
off.
Yeah, but it is.
But I mean, it
Yeah.
does
Oh,
really
absolutely,
change.
when you're buying it
really
down.
changes like what a buyer could afford. Like, you know what I mean? If at their debt to income or whatever, if they're comfortable with this certain amount of payment, this house might just now qualify that it didn't before. So,
Right.
I mean, it makes a huge difference. Like, it gets me excited.
And anybody
the numbers are
interested
not my thing.
in the Heim Ridge homes in Chandler, call Kylena or Candace because I know you got I think you had a client that was interested.
Yeah.
And I've heard from realtors from other companies also
Yeah.
who have clients that are interested.
But that
so
one is ready to go.
that one's not
Yeah.
going to last.
No,
No.
no, it'll go.
It will not last. So Kylena, how can they get a hold of you? You're the listing agent on that. So
You can call me on my cell phone. It's 812-746-2954.
Candace, as far as Jagger Court or any of, also you have a listing. You and I have a listing for
Chris Combs.
CAC Custom Homes.
Yep.
On Chris's,
White Oak Trail.
Chris's new subdivision.
Yep.
In the villas
Of Oak Grove.
Of Oak Grove.
Mhm. Yep.
And we have, and that will be open this Sunday.
Yes, it sure will, from
Yep.
1 to 3.
And so you've got the model there. When you go see the model, we're right down the street from the model.
It's beautiful.
So
Yeah,
it's
it is. It's very pretty.
And it has all, some of you know the CAC stuff or from $1 million and up homes. Chris has used the same materials that he uses in there. They're not 10,000 square feet. They're 2,500 square feet. Beautiful homes. And, Candace has been in mine.
Yeah.
I live out there actually.
You want to share everybody which address is yours, Charlie, so they can come say hi? If you see Charlie outside, just let us know.
Yeah, there
Honk
you
and
go.
wave.
Poor Deb, if her front door gets egged, she's going to be so
Yeah.
upset with us.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Cut that part
You'll be on the you know what list, Kylena. But so and Candace, how can they get a hold of you?
They can call me on my cell phone at 812-455-6338, or they can reach me on the team phone, and that is 812-430-1708.
All right, she's able to look it up.
I have it typed in now
Yeah.
to my phone to where I can pull it every week.
So I mean, right now we have a lot of listings, a lot of
We
nice
sure do.
listings.
Yes.
So is there anything you got? Is there any of them that you guys want to talk about?
You know, I have a beautiful listing over on Kansas Road that
It is beautiful. I've been there. Yeah.
It is gorgeous. Over 2 acres in McCutcheonville, right across from Farm 57. Beautiful old farmhouse, big barn. Really, it's a unique property for the area. You don't really get acreage in McCutcheonville.
Yep.
And a lot of the homes are pretty, cookie cutter. They're very similar, and this one is very unique.
Lots
So,
of character.
Yes.
It really
Kylena
does.
has been in it too. And
It's an
enjoyed
older
it.
home with a lot of that older home character.
clawfoot tubs. I mean, it's really, it's beautiful. So, and that one will also be opened this weekend, I believe.
I believe that's
12 to 2?
Saturday, isn't it?
Is it 12 to
That's
2
Saturday, isn't it,
Saturday?
Candace?
Yes, yes, Saturday from 12 to 2. Yeah. So,
So you can always call us too on the team phone line if you ever see a house, whether it's our listing or just something that you see on Zillow, and we can always show it to you, at any time. But yeah, we are going to have several open this weekend. So
yeah.
So, are there other things coming up you guys want to talk about? Oh, but we have a team trip to Las Vegas,
We sure do.
Vegas.
Yeah.
and I am having a problem with my leg right now, a sciatic nerve problem, so I can't sit that long on a flight. So I am leaving these two in charge, which is just
Vegas.
It's going to be so much
which is
fun.
such
I've
a
never
bad
been.
idea. Yeah.
Candace is
You
going
know,
to
if
have
they're
to
in
show
charge,
me.
Charlie, I'm just wondering, can I go?
You can take my place, David. Yeah, yeah. I can't get all of you out of jail. Okay, I mean, there is a limit
I will
here.
chaperone, Charlie. I'll report back to you daily.
Oh, yeah, I bet you will.
Attending meetings and conferences and learning so much to benefit all their clients back here in Southern Indiana.
Now, you've been to Vegas how many times? Like 25?
Not that many.
I've
Maybe 17.
I've been 20 something.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you've
Yeah,
been a bunch.
yeah. We usually go twice a year. But
Charlie Butler team takes on Vegas.
Yes,
You
it.
can see it now. Social
Yeah.
media is going to run wild with this.
and
Not Girls
too
Gone
wild.
Wild. Not Girls Gone
You will
Wild.
have
Charlie Butler
lots
team.
of social media opportunities while any and everywhere on the strip in Vegas that week.
of course, I think it is except for Trevor. I think it is all female.
Yeah.
And you guys could take Trevor too to the Thunder from Down Under, the male strip show at the Luxor.
I don't know if Trevor will be on board with that
I
one.
think he'd be as red as your
Yeah,
shirt
can
is,
you see-
Pretty
Candace.
sure he would be. Yeah.
For those that don't, Trevor's been on before, but for those who don't know him, Trevor's a
Very
great,
bashful.
but also a very good realtor.
Oh,
Yeah.
But he just turned 25, so and he is bashful a little bit. So you can
And
make
Charlie does not miss an opportunity to make
Trevor's-
him blush.
I was going to say, Trevor's also looking for love. He's looking to find a woman to marry, not date. He's already shared that with me.
Well,
he wouldn't
he
marry
is-
her. He doesn't want to date her.
He shared that with me. I put
So
it.
it is
I put
Valentine's.
I put it to him a little bit more straightforward one weekend.
Yes, I'm sure you did. I am positive of that.
Candace also has, I believe, a 22-year-old, and she's been wanting me to talk to him.
No. Charlie is not allowed to babysit at all.
At one time, when Mason, when we'd have team meetings, Mason delivered pizza for a company, and I told Candace, I said, "Look, I'll teach him some things, and so Mason she told him just throw the pizzas out, don't.
Just throw the pizza out.
Elevator door opens, you just
Even
slide
don't
those
stop.
boxes
Keep
across the
rolling.
floor. Yeah. Yep.
But so you guys will have, but it'll be a lot. It's also the Keller Williams. It's called Family Reunion. It's Keller Williams Convention. There's great learning opportunities. I mean, in the evening, of course, there's a lot of fun things to do.
Extracurricular activities.
Yeah, there are.
Social networking.
That's
Right.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
You'll steal ideas from other areas of the nation and bring
Right.
those back here.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's right.
Some of the best, and I'll be honest about it. Some of the best I've ever has been later on in these same guys went to class all day and they would go over at that night, in usually in a Hilton bar somewhere. Yeah.
Well,
I mean,
It's just a fountain of.
no, I'm being very serious.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Because in my past, sharing ideas from other parts of the nation where you're non-competitive and stealing those ideas and bringing them back is
Yeah.
definitely. Now, whether it's in a conference room or it's at the Hilton bar, as Charlie just said, as long
Both
as you're
work.
getting wisdom,
Yeah.
that's
That's
the
right.
important
And
part.
both
Right.
will happen. Well,
Both will happen.
Both
Right.
will happen.
Yeah.
Because you're going to see people like Gary Keller, Mark Willis. Gary Keller, who is the chairman of Keller Williams. Mark Willis, tremendous speaker, who's the CEO. We're also going to have Tony Robbins there.
Yes.
We're going to have Mel Robbins
I
there, who
know.
Kylena I know is a big fan of.
I'm excited for both of
And
those.
I've seen Tony a couple times, and I know Mark, and Mark is just a tremendous speaker. And of course, Gary is Gary. Considered by me the smartest real estate guy in the world. So, but anyway, Jordan says we're running out of time.
Yep.
We
So
are.
got to go.
So I think we got, and you can also reach me at 812-499-7758. And remember the Charlie Butler team, we have the instant cash offer right now. So call us, call any one of us. And if you're looking to sell your home, we can list it, or we can come in and buy it.
Hassle-free cash offer.
Hassle-free cash offer within 48 hours. But I think that'll wrap it up today. So for David Crow, Kylena Page, Candace DeArmond, this is Charlie Butler. Have a great Sunday.
You've got real estate questions but don't know where to get the answers? Tune in here every Sunday morning at 9 a.m. as Charlie Butler, Evansville's own real estate expert, shares the latest news, info, and insider tips to help you make smart real estate decisions. Find him online at charliebutlerteam.com. This program has been paid for by the Charlie Butler team. From the Kate Foppel Ford Studios, this is Newstalk 1280 WGBF.